Hello and welcome to the Garofalo family farm. So I want to preface this with, you will see in this garden weeds, containers of plants, weeds, things that needed to be deadheaded, maybe stuff I've pulled out and just thrown, but you know, maybe it's more relatable for some of you. So I'm standing in the newest addition to the garden this year. A lot of the things that actually almost all of the things that you see in here that we're storing the plants are from Facebook Marketplace or flea markets, things that are being repurposed. This whole strip, which is our garden, is the side of the driveway when you pull in. So this is the first thing that people are seeing when they pull in. So this first planter is just a double wash tub, and it is my most favorite planter. It's filled with things like ping pong salvia, my African blue basil, my bubblegum petunias, alyssum, some more salvia. It's beautiful. Okay, so perimeter of the garden is these railroad ties, and I was on Facebook Marketplace one night and saw them, and it turned out to be somebody that Cash played baseball with. So my husband Matt went and picked them up. We've used them as a border now, got them all straight-ish, and it's containing the mulch. So last year, back up, we had this huge, massive 2 dump trucks worth of wood chips delivered because I like to use it as the walkways. I was like, why don't we just expand the garden because it's in front of the garden? So we did that, spread out the entire mulch. I didn't, I was pregnant. My husband and Mr. Rob did. And then we put all of these galvanized containers on top of it. So these, you'll see, these have been destroyed by the Japanese beetles. These are the floret, I think they're alpenglow zinnias, but they'll rebound. You know, I just keep cutting and they'll come right back. But the Japanese beetles are absolutely horrific. In this one, bubblegum, petunias, I've got some dahlias, and then again, these are the unicorn zinnias from Floret. Can you zoom in on these? These are super bright colored, beautiful. It's like I don't know, it's a fun little surprise every time one opens to see what it's going to be. But you'll see the pest damage from the Japanese beetles. This one is like my fall bucket. I've got some sunflowers in, oh, you can see the bee. We've got an amateur videographer, so we'll see how it works out. This is amaranth. This is actually a trap crop, if you can see this. This has tons of aphids on it. And I'm keeping it to keep them off of my actual plants. I've got millet in there. Some of these SoCal petunias. I love it. Potatoes, they are blooming, and I'm hoping to get a good harvest. These are the red potatoes. And then I've got yellow potatoes in the back. The greenhouse we got from Costco. That was finally put together. I've got the 2 pink green stalks in it. So we had strawberries fully in it. It didn't work out. So I've planted it with some profusion zinnias, some alyssum. These are those, like, I think they're trailing zinnias. And of course some basil and things. Japanese beetles, of course. This cart, I saw a cart it was very similar at the Elkhorn Flea Market, and it was $395, and they were out of their minds. It was still there the following market, so they didn't sell it. But I saw one on Facebook Marketplace, and it was much, much, much cheaper. I think like $50, yeah. So in the meantime, next year I hope for Matt to build a platform in it so I can actually plant it, but this year I had some extra petunia baskets that I need to cut the basket tops off, but I just put them in there for now. They're up on 5-gallon buckets. Then we've got this huge 10-foot trough, feed trough. I've got some salvias in the back. This was just recently planted a few weeks ago, so this was in the rush to get it done before my son's birthday, and a lot of this stuff was things that were needed to be planted, but lots of different kind of fall varieties. If you see me doing that, it's because of the Japanese beetles. Over here, I've got some sunflowers. You can see my containers stacked up in there. So after the season is done, I put my containers just right there. But look at this. Might as well. Okay. Over here, these are bathtubs. These are like a swimming pool. To fill these was a lot of dirt. We started going to the dump to get some compost from them because it is free. It's something that they offered. And I mean, I've only put flowers in it so far, but it's doing really well. These are those hyacinth moonbeam vines. Eventually, this is going to be a cattle panel trellis that goes in and kind of welcoming you through the arbor, the pergola, through to the greenhouse. Just kind of a walk through. Let's see. This was winter sowed. This is that verbena, really tall. It's huge. It's in a lot of my baskets that you'll see later on. This is Tulsi basil. I had some leftover pepper plants, so when I'm starting seeds, I have this like sickness where I can't stop starting seeds. So I had a lot of extra pepper plants, so I just threw them in these beds. There's Lysianthus that are blooming. Let's take a look here. These are all Lysianthus that have just started opening. Aren't they beautiful? Basil's in every bed. It's a must. It's a must. Okay, over here is my yellow potatoes, golden potatoes. Last year we had potatoes. We put them in a raised bed, but we didn't dry them, like cure them the right way. So they didn't make it, needless to say. Walla Walla onions. Some of them are getting some really good size on them, and they were planted later than my other onions. I'll show you that. Over here, I've got things I wanted to use as cut flowers. So a bunch of my bins are cut flowers. So in this bin, you've got feverfew, you've got the tall marigolds, dahlias that I started from seed. So I have a few planters full of the floret dahlias, but I also did the Baker Creek ones. I got some from somewhere else too. And then, of course, some zinnias. These carts are probably my favorite thing. You'll see a few of them here. African blue basil is my favorite. It gets huge, bushy. No! 5-second rule. Alyssum, this oregano is a great filler for the trailing type. And they fill out so nicely with the Japanese beetle. Okay. This is something that my husband found on Marketplace 2 years ago now. We didn't get it up last season, so it sat back there, and he's like, what do you want to do with it? So they made a platform for it. They stabilized it with a few extra pieces of wood and then stained those. And then we've got some David Austin, oh, I forget the name of her. Crown Princess Margareta. So these I'm gonna train up here. I was gonna do some wisteria, but these are solar lanterns that I got on Amazon that really make it look cute at night. Lighting is something that we're working on this year. You can see Cat Key. This is our garage kitty. Right? All along the front of this, and don't zoom in on it, they can just see it from afar, is zinnias. So we have zinnias that go all the way down the driveway. These are all from Safe Seed. Obviously it's competing with the grass, but once the zinnias get big enough, the grass kind of gets shaded out. More dahlias, zinnias. There's some gomphrena in here. All of this is in hopes to do a cut flower bouquets. My double wash tub is absolutely phenomenal. You've got salvia in there. You've got alyssum. These snapdragons are so tall. Lysianthus, this ornamental Kent oregano. Absolutely love it. Okay, then I didn't have enough things, so I made him build me some more wood beds. So I had, remember I talked to you about startitis. I had all of these tomato plants that were basically dead. Do you remember when we planted them? They were dead. I made him build me some beds. So we've got peppers. These peppers I got from Wayne's daughters, and they were only $1. They were at their end of the season, so I just put those in there. But these tomatoes have completely turned around, and I'm just using stakes. So on all my other tomatoes, I use cattle panels, but this was supposed to be an economical type of thing. Come here, Khaki. So again, some more tomatoes. Back here, this is a bathtub. Bathtub is not in its final resting place. It got moved because of these beds that we just built. You got it? Floret zinnias that are absolutely gorgeous, minus the lacing. Oh. Inside I've got some alyssum and verbena and that ornamental oregano grouping out of it, but it needs to be moved to where it's more visible. I just can't lift it. Back here, we're gonna see if they come back. So these are bare root raspberry bushes that we got from Johnny's. We're gonna see if they come back. Okay, more planters. My blueberry bush is in there. My blueberry bush was going to get hacked and it didn't, and now it is giving me the most delicious blueberries. You can see. So, you know, I kept it for a reason. These were bare root as well. These are golden raspberries. It looks a mess. It'll look good once it fills in with raspberries. I'm obsessed with all of these metal cans. You'll see a bunch of them, like lard cans and things like that. I planted them. I drill holes in the bottom and just throw some stuff in them that had ranunculus in there. So I just recently pulled that out and planted that. A clematis in hopes that it'll drape over this beautiful ladder arch. This is the one we got married. No, this is not. We built 2 for our wedding. We got married on our property. We have 8 acres here. We got married in the back, and we have 2 ladder arbors that we made. The other one I'll show you is the one we got married under. Some random sunflowers to cover up this god-awful mess. More sunflowers, more zinnias in here, and then we'll move on to more of the vegetable garden. Okay, so the front 5 beds are galvanized panels that we got from Home Depot. No, Menards. You can also get them at Home Depot. And then on the outsides of this, we did use the treated wood because it doesn't touch our food. I'm kind of a freak about that. You do you, whatever. And then each of them has cattle panels that were screwed in with some metal strapping to the edge of the bed. Strawberries are in this one, and then this whole bed is stuff that reseeded itself from last year. So the strawberries, they produced and now they're recuperating. We have all of this dill. There's some kohlrabi in there. There's snapdragons that are from last year. The only thing I planted is an eggplant. Okay, come back this way. This bed is naked right here because this cattle panel, you can see in here, I had peas going up it, but they were getting bitter, so I just cut them off. I don't know if beans harbor the same like nitrogen qualities as if peas do as beans, but I just did it for the benefit of not disturbing the soil. And I planted little midnight black pumpkins in there. So hopefully the midnight black pumpkins will not get squash bugs and they will climb over this cattle panel and be absolutely beautiful. I've got some cucumbers here. These are like the muncher size cucumbers right here. So this is like the optimum size for them. Super tasty. I've had some damage from the cucumber beetle, so I am using neem oil just because this is my son's favorite thing to eat out of the garden, and I would hate, last year I didn't get any, I would hate it. Okay, this is my arch nemesis. I You can't kill this plant. So this is Kiss Me Over the Garden Gates. And I thought it'd be a good idea to plant it last year in the bed because I had nothing on this arbor. Funnily enough, I had planted this. This is that hyacinth moonbeam. And I had planted it to go over this arbor and none of it germinated last year. Well, here it is this year as a volunteer. And same with this garden gates. The stem is as thick as a tree trunk and the roots are, it's just a lot. It will be out this year, but I don't want to disturb anything else. I've got peppers and things that are working around it. And all of my beds are interplanted with flowers, so I believe in making your garden beds beautiful just because I want to look at it every day. On this cattle panel, this is all Malabar spinach, so it's a climbing spinach that can handle cooler weather. And then look at my onions. I have never grown, look at this big onion, look at it, look them. I've never grown an onion that big. It might not look big it'll look big in camera. Everything looks better. Okay, interplanted with some dill and oregano. On this cattle panel, we've got some Sharon melon. It's a melon that's climbing. These are nasturtiums, and then this is the tromboncino. We absolutely love this squash, and it's a really aggressive climber if you can get it to germinate, which you shouldn't have a problem. It's a squash that's those are super easy. More onions. I just had more onions. I didn't know what to do with them. These tomatoes in this bed are all volunteers. And then this bed right here, I don't even want to show it because it's an embarrassment, but this was a cool weather bed. It's sunk a lot because it was the last bed this year to be made, and it just got, but look at my cauliflower in here. Can you see it? Clementine cauliflower. I've never been able to successfully grow cauliflower. Here's one too, twister. So I've got some cauliflowers in there I need to harvest today before they bolt. So that's what we'll be working on. On these cattle panels, he used zip ties. Here is what is it called?
Solar panel?
The solar panel that makes these light up at night, but he zip tied them in the kind of uniform shape so they look really, really pretty at night. Okay, now we're going on to the wood beds. These wood beds are all 6-inch boards, so we did 3 high. We stained them. We did use regular pine, so I know they will not last forever. Can I have my hair back? Thank you. We've got things like zucchinis, peppers, lemon balm. These sunflowers seeded themselves. Pumpkin squash that has reseeded itself. I don't know what it is. It's got pumpkins on it. It's got gray zucchini on it. It's just got everything. Like I said, you're gonna see weeds, you're gonna see things that, I've got green beans interplanted. I just got everything, a little bit of everything. This massive pepper. It's an orange sweet sunrise, orange sunrise, so that'll be. I am starting to get some blight on my tomatoes, so I gotta come in and look at the foliage on this one. This one's called a woolly Kate tomato. I don't see any fruit on it yet though. My tomatoes, cabbage worms, are all planted underneath a cattle panel. We put in, I think, 6-foot stakes in to the ground for those, and then they're just zip tied on there. And then as the tomato plants grow, I just use that tomato tie tape. You could also use the clips to clip it up to the panel. Yeah. On the end here, you'll see some dead zinnias. Move along. This bed has all peppers, and then cucumbers are climbing the fence. And then this year I also did some tomatoes. There's cabbage moths. Ah! There's cats and the bug catcher. But I'm really happy with how my plants look so far this year. I mean, they're looking, and they've got really good blossoms on them. I'm excited. More peppers. So all of my tomatoes are underneath the cattle panel, so then they grow up it. And then in front of it, my beds are 4 feet wide, so I have enough room to put stuff in front of it. So whether that be basil, flowers, eggplant, peppers, did I say peppers? Little zinnias. This, I'm super excited. This is lots of blossoms. These are going to be pole beans, but they have just taken over this whole trellis, and I'm hoping it's like a little canopy to walk under. It's gonna be beautiful. That's the point of all this, right? Is to eat good food and to have a beautiful garden. Okay, this way. This is kind of, so that bed back there, that has hoops on it. We did a row cover on it, kind of a frost cover. So I was able to start things out here in March, and I got lettuces, rainbow chard, a bunch of kale, broccoli, lettuce. I said that, broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi. It's all gone to seed now. So now I'm picking at it. The kale is so good, but I'm picking it off every few days to give it to the chickens. So I have 40 chickens, and they love something like this as a treat. So I just pack a bunch, but I don't want to pull out the whole bed yet. This will probably be my fall bed where I can get some more cooler crops. This is a little bit in the shade. Last year's onions that weren't picked are now this year's beautiful allium. So now I'll kind of just do video clips of other areas around my house, because I have plenty of areas that have beautiful flowers. But I also have a 6-year-old and a baby, and I'm 2.5 months postpartum, so you know, things aren't all picked up as they should be. So I hope you enjoyed walking through our garden. We have put a lot of labor and love into this. That's about it. We will see you guys next time.